principles of agroecology. The Agroecology Fund started to operate in 2012 with the support of 4 donors. But currently, the fund has more than 50 donors supporting this initiative. And it's interesting that this shows how food systems and agroecology are a meeting point for main priorities that we have to deal with currently, such as climate change, biodiversity conservation, combating hunger and malnutrition, poverty, and rights. The Agroecology Fund sees agroecology from the perspective of rights, the right to health food, the right to land and territory, human rights in general, particularly looking through the women and indigenous peoples issues. Since the creation of the Agroecology Fund, the fund has awarded more than $29 million to collaboratives working and implementing and developing creative solutions in more than 95 countries. We felt very privileged to learn from these partners how they are managing to find solutions for the challenge that they face in their territories. At the same time, we know that in many cases, these creative solutions, they are not visible or they are unknown beyond the areas of their implementation. In Agroecology Fund also heard very often an issue that there is a lack of evidence that agroecology can be a solution to address all these issues. This issue on evidence was one of the key topics discussed in the 2020 global meeting that Agroecology Fund organized in India, joining partners, grantees, funders, and other allies. And some questions that came during that gathering. What do we mean by evidence? And for whom? And who builds the evidence? Who communicates this evidence? And so at the end of that gathering that we organized in India, partners recommended that the Agroecology Fund should consider providing support to the grassroots initiatives that they could document and communicate the evidence of the solutions that they are validating in their territories. And so at the end of 2020, we were in the middle of all uncertainties of the pandemic. The Agroecology Fund started a collaboration with Statistics for Sustainable Development, an organization that have an amazing team of researchers with extensive experience in participatory process that was also thinking about this issue. And so we came together to develop a pilot and better formulate this approach to evidence. The pilot involved 4 volunteer partners, Gaia from Mexico, SEDAC from Brazil, Nous sommes la Solution from Senegal, and Slow Food Network, involving partners from Kenya, Uganda, and Italy, to develop this pilot and better develop a methodology that could be suitable for grassroots organizations to document their evidence. And today we are launching the online catalog, which is one of the major milestones of this journey. My colleagues from Stats for Sustainable Development will give more details about this process. But before I pass the mic to them, I would like, on behalf of the Agroecology Fund, really thank Statistics for Sustainable Development team for their important contribution to conceptualize and develop the grassroots evidence for agroecology methodology and tools. All partners that were involved in the pilot, and they also provided very, very important inputs to the design of the methodology. And all partners that during the year of 2024 has been working, documenting their case, producing communication products, interacting with the Statistics for Sustainable Development team to improve the way that they prepare and communicate their evidence, and are today sharing with us what they have been working. And so thank you also to the funders that have been with the Agroecology Fund since the very beginning of this initiative. And thank you all for being with us today. I pass the mic to Carlos Barona and Romina from Stats for Sustainable Development that will guide us in this session. The floor is yours, Carlos and Romina. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Angela. I have just noticed quite a number of comments on the chat about the French translation not working. Can we make sure that it is working before I start? Could you please, those of you who are listening to the French translation, interpretation, confirm that you can hear it? It's barely audible is the last comment that we have. It is not working well. To our technical team, what do you advise? Should we attempt to fix it or should I start?
I think we have a problem in the audio of the interpreter. Maybe it's his device. If you could try to change your mic or something like that, because looks like the problem is from your side or your internet. I hope it's not your internet connection. I suggest that you try to fix it as soon as possible. And I suggest that we start. And sorry about French speakers, please, you're patient to wait a few seconds. I hoped that we get fixed to the interpretation problem. Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for joining this presentation. My name is Carlos Barahona, and together with a large number of people, we have been working over more than 2 years on building a methodology and the first set of cases. So the first thing that I'm going to ask you is, if you have any questions, please put them on the question box, and then we will try to answer them as soon as we have a chance. And the most important thing for me today is a big thank you to the thousands of food producers and consumers who have been part of this journey, who have been working with specific organizations in different parts of the world. So much. A big thank you to them, to the 15 organizations that led the preparation of the cases that we are presenting today. And thank you for the pictures that I am using in this presentation. They are yours. And to the partner organizations that work with you, and there is a large variety of partner organizations in each of the localities, including academic organizations and other grassroots organizations that join forces with you. I want to give a special thanks to Slow Food Uganda and Italy, SEDAC in Brazil, and GEA in Mexico, who participated in the development of the pilot that led to the methodology that we use this year. Big thank you to the Agroecology Fund for all the support and the leadership they have provided, and a little bit selfishly to my colleagues at Stats4SD, Romina and Nico Grealish, who have been working on the development of these cases, and to the technical team that produced the online catalog, both in terms of user experience and the bits that I don't understand that have to do with IT technology, Emily, Kiera, and Dan. This has been a co-creation process. It has been co-created by as many people as I mentioned before. Started, as Angela, you mentioned, in 2020 with the decision by the Agroecology Fund and grantees to make the gathering of evidence for agroecology a priority. In 2021, 2022, we were discussing, still under COVID restrictions for some of us, how the pilot was going to be conducted to generate the approach that we would use. And it had to be an approach that was rigorous and that it worked for grassroots organizations. In 2023, we had the systematization of the learning. A report was produced, an online course was designed and made available that takes anybody who wants to become familiar with the approach to go through the online course. Is free, is available. It's been available since middle of 2023. And there was a call for proposals for the first cohort of Agroecology Fund grantees to join in the effort of producing the first set of cases. That effort happened in 2024, and 15 grantees were selected to produce the cases that we are launching today. From 2025 onwards, we are very excited with the possibility of producing a larger body of evidence by grassroots organizations. This body of evidence will grow and will support our work in convincing people, in changing minds and changing beliefs and practices to go towards food systems that are healthy and that deliver for us and for future generations. The grassroots knowledge and evidence-based advocacy is at the center of this effort. And we have prepared cases that have turned knowledge and experiences of the grassroots organizations into compelling arguments for agroecology. These cases are based on a structured approach that I'm going to detail in a moment, and they use rigorous evidence to support their claims. Those cases are built with an aim. Each case and the collection as a whole aim to influence farmers, communities, donors, policymakers, researchers, consumers, and is to influence what they do, to influence how they think. And so it's important to notice that the cases are aimed at specific audiences, because at the center of the approach is the targeting of the evidence and the messages. The structure of the cases was defined during the pilot, and we have used it through this year with the cases with the organizations we've been working with. It seems to work. We are very excited about it. And it's developed so that the cases are clear, are coherent, and maximize the possibility for impact. They are based on a clear statement that guides the case. It is an if-then statement. It is a logical statement that needs to be supported by evidence. The target audience is defined by those who produce the case, so that a strategic approach can be developed to reach that specific audience. And that strategic approach includes taking into account their values, their principles, and the way that they can best be reached with the message that carries the case. At the center of it all is that the statement is supported by evidence in the form of information that is used to demonstrate that the statement made can be verified in practice. And finally, each case has a call to action at the end. Therefore, the if statement, if we do this, then this happens. Therefore, you must do something. So it's a logical statement that has guided how we develop these cases. Communication products have been developed for each of the cases, and they are beautiful, they are really useful, and I invite you all, when you browse the catalog of cases, the collection, to have a look at them. But let's talk a little bit about evidence in these cases. Evidence is information used for a purpose. Therefore, the evidence is purposeful, and it is integrated into the case in such a way that we bring information of different nature to strengthen the weight of the case. It's cumulative, so each piece of information is used to build on the previous one and make the case stronger. It's interpreted and analyzed according to the values, principles, and frameworks that are in the minds and in the culture of the target audience, and is coherent in relation to using the information in the context of the target audience. In that way, we aim for the cases to provide strong, evidence-based arguments that support agroecology and advocate for meaningful change. I'm going to stop here, and we have invited 3 of the organizations out of the 15 that produced cases to share with all of us some of their experiences. Thank you very much. I believe, is it the group from Peru going first?
We can start.
Thank you, Tammy.
Yeah.
Fatima, would you start sharing the presentation, please?
Y nuestro grupo va a presentar en español. So it will be presenting in Spanish. So you can look for English interpretation, those who are listening in. Yeah. You can go to the next slide to begin, please. Next slide, please. So I'm going, yo voy a hablar un poco sobre el curso y realmente Carlos ya ha explicado cómo es el curso en teoría y voy a hablar de nuestra experiencia en hacer el curso. Y a mí me gusta mucho estudiar y tomo cursos así por interés muchas veces para ver el contenido y también la metodología. Como educador me interesa mucho eso. Y entonces ya había conocido a Carlos en otro curso. En el curso de evidencia desde la base de parte de Andes hemos escogido un caso que veníamos trabajando ya muchos años, teníamos un montón de información relevante y ya teníamos un argumento, pero el curso realmente nos empujó a construir una narrativa coherente sobre el modelo, sobre los beneficios. Y como explicó Carlos, hay un proceso que vamos paso por paso para construir la narrativa. Nos ayudó a escoger qué información sirve como evidencia. Tuvimos que definir a quién vamos a dirigir nuestro mensaje. Y decidimos escoger 2 territorios bioculturales, uno que ya tiene larga experiencia y hemos podido ver en la práctica los beneficios, y otro caso que es el Parque Chalacui, que está replicando el modelo y recién empezando a ver los beneficios. Entonces tomamos esos 2 parques, territorios bioculturales como fuente de la evidencia de los beneficios. De nuestra perspectiva, siempre es importante poder incluir conocimiento tradicional. No vemos evidencia solo como algo científico impuesto de afuera, pero felizmente el curso realmente sigue una metodología muy abierta, flexible. Nos deja incluir el tipo de evidencia que nosotros vemos como relevante. También dejan muy abierta la manera de presentar el caso. Y hemos podido aprovechar para presentar el caso en diferentes formatos, diferentes idiomas. Y aunque es muy flexible, hay un muy buen apoyo del equipo del curso. Yo diría que dan interesantes observaciones o sugerencias desde afuera en el proceso de construir el caso. Ahora quiero pasar la palabra a mis colegas que van a explicar un poco más sobre el proceso de desarrollo del caso y los productos de comunicación. Gracias.
Gracias, Tami. Buenos días a todos, especialmente a Carlos por el curso justamente que hemos tenido durante todo ese proceso. Y de acuerdo a todo lo que justamente se mencionaba, qué lecciones hemos aprendido, ¿no?
Siguiente. Next slide, please.
Sobre las lecciones que hemos aprendido nosotros como equipo que hemos trabajado, es en coordinación con los parques, ¿no? Tanto justamente a lo que mencionaba Tami, es el trabajo en conjunto con el Parque de la Papa y también el Parque Chalaco y Lares, ¿no? En donde se ha realizado justamente los trabajos de coordinación y más que todo colectivo y también con la anuencia de ellos también, ¿no? Se pudo realizar estos trabajos. También se pudo organizar las ideas de mejor manera y que dieron ¿no? Que dieron el impulso justamente a la creación de este video que seguramente en el posterior va a apoyar a los diferentes trabajos dentro de la organización misma y también dentro de los parques, ¿no? Se han creado. También se identificó, ¿no? El público objetivo, a quienes nos queríamos dirigir, porque en un inicio realmente, o sea, estábamos ahí con ideas dispersas y también en ahí el curso y también Carlos quien nos ha dado la asesoría correspondiente, es donde hemos podido definir el público objetivo, todo lo referente, ¿no? A qué es lo que nosotros queríamos transmitir y a qué público, más que todo, que llegue nuestro mensaje como patrimonio biocultural. También se pudieron organizar de mejor manera las informaciones y también gracias a eso también hay la producción, ¿no? De la información y los materiales que ya también se va a realizar lo que es la estructuración adecuada, ¿no? Del guión y todo ello. A ver, voy a dar paso a Enrique.
Carlos, muy buenos días. Nosotros como organización, durante todo este proceso de construcción del caso, hemos podido elaborar, ¿no? Un video que explica, ¿no? La importancia de estos territorios bioculturales y cómo estos contribuyen a crear resiliencia en las comunidades indígenas. El video que hemos elaborado tiene un audio quechua, ¿no? Con subtítulos en español. Hemos elaborado también, ahora hace poco hemos terminado con la elaboración del mismo video, pero con subtítulos en inglés, que pensamos que esto va a contribuir, ¿no? A otras comunidades de indígenas de otros países, ¿no? A que puedan de repente ver el caso del Parque de la Papa y del Parque Chalacui y que de repente ellos puedan adaptarlo a su contexto local. Asimismo, hemos elaborado unos folletos que están subidos ahí en el catálogo, que, que básicamente están dirigidos, ¿no? Nuestro público objetivo fueron las comunidades indígenas, ¿no? También los hacedores de políticas, también los científicos, ¿no? Y también otras instituciones, ¿no? Como las ONGs, ¿no? Que, que puedan estar interesados en replicar en sus diferentes ámbitos de trabajo esos modelos de territorios bioculturales. Entonces, Estos materiales también lo que pensamos es, bueno, ya lo tenemos en nuestras páginas web, ¿no? Lo estamos promocionando también en algunas redes sociales que nosotros contamos como organización y también dentro del Parque de la Papa, ¿no? Y también otra forma que pensamos usarlo, ¿no? Hace poco estábamos ya en conversaciones con algunas autoridades, ¿no? De los gobiernos locales para que puedan conocer, ¿no? Estas áreas de importante conservación que existen en sus localidades, pero muchos de ellos a veces no están enterados. Eh, bueno, pensamos que a través de que ellos puedan conocer de estas áreas existentes en sus territorios, puedan brindar un mayor apoyo y asistencia a las comunidades indígenas. Bueno, es todo. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. I would like to invite Rashida now to proceed and share some of her experience.
Thank you so much, Carlos. Good morning, good evening, everyone. My name is Rashida Kavanda. I work with ESAFF Uganda, and I was taking lead on development of the case. Our case was on using human urine as a fertilizer and pesticide, and we sourced out Mukono district to host our case. So for the online case, first of all, I had never done any course on building evidence-based cases. So one of the main things that I learned was to develop the case using facts, like you have to argue using facts. And then also you have to do a comparison while trying to motivate people. Let me say for the case of our case, we're trying to motivate farmers to use human urine as a fertilizer and pesticide. So in that, we had to try and compare using human urine as a fertilizer and also using the chemicals on the market as fertilizer. So we had to draw a clear comparison. How do farmers benefit from using urine and also using the chemical fertilizers from the shops? Maybe also to add on that, I also learned how to structure the case into a more understandable concept where we had to divide it into environmental aspects, economic aspects, social and cultural aspects for it to be easily understood by our target audience, who were the farmers this time. Some of the lessons that I learned from taking on this course and also building the case is that you have to tailor information to your target audience that is easily understandable, but also considering their beliefs and cultural values. What do they believe in? If I motivate them to take on this, will their values be still withheld? Then also developing messages that are clearly understood. You have to tailor them to what the farmers that you want to take on the thing can easily understand. Then also using credible sources into building your case is really important. So some of the materials that we developed a video and a publication, infographic publication that we have shared already on our website and social media. So, and now we are planning to use it in future or in these coming days. We are planning to play the video of the use of human urine as a fertilizer and pesticide during the various trainings that we shall be having with small-scale farmers, for them to see how we're able to document with our host farmer in Mukono the different steps of urine collection, urine storage, and application in the garden. So our research was basically on 3 crops, that is bananas, maize, and some vegetables. So we tested the urine on some vegetables, then also had some vegetables and bananas and maize that we did not apply anything. So we had to compare in the end after after the period, we had to compare which ones did well compared to the others. And we found out that urine actually is a good control agent when it comes to pests and also increasing some of the elements of the crops. We're also planning to distribute the infographic booklets to small-scale farmers, but also to other partners that we are working with directly, who work with small-scale farmers and would like to uptake the use of human urine as a pesticide and a fertilizer for their crops. I want to thank Dr. Romina for guiding us through this documentation of our case, and also Agroecology Fund, of course. Thank you so much. It was really a very educative process. Yeah, that is all I can share for now. Thank you so much, Carlos.
Rashida, thank you. And Jyotsna, would you please take the opportunity to make your case?
Thank you, Carlos. Hello and greetings from GRAVIS, India. And thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to share our experience of building the case, leveraging traditional knowledge and wisdom to promote water security in the Thar. Let me give you a brief introduction and context. This case is situated in Phalodi block, Jodhpur district, state of Rajasthan, India. More specifically, considered to be one of the most arid desert regions across the world, the Thar region faces extreme heat, scarce and sporadic rainfall, and acute shortage of resources. Despite these extreme weather conditions, 80% of the population depend on rain-fed farming as a source of livelihood and survival. The Thar region is also home to several cultural and gender-specific barriers that place a disproportionately high burden on women and young girls. Despite these adversities, the Thar region offers hope. Our case study, titled Leveraging Traditional Knowledge and Wisdom to Promote Water Security, is a ray of hope for a sustainable future. This particular case is steered by two key statements. One, that promotes the use of water conservation and moisture retention techniques to enhance the quantity, quality, and diversity of agricultural production. And two, that empowers women and young girls with increased access to water, enabling them to achieve improved physical and mental, improved confidence as well. This has been built on the core understanding that conservation overcoming a wide array of socio-economic and cultural barriers that amplify challenges associated with like the Thar. Coming to our experience. With respect to the online course, well, I must confess, it was so beautifully structured. It did provide us enough time to orient ourselves and familiarize ourselves with new terms and concepts. The course strengthened our understanding of the framework that included priorities, values, principles, interests, indicators, all of which contributed to framing our case and articulating the same to
Is my connection? Hello. I think we have lost. Jyotsna, are you back? We lost you for a moment. We'll give you a moment.
Sorry, is it visible?
You are now back in. Your audio is a little bit not too clear. Are you able to talk now? We are beginning to see your screen.
Yes, Carlos.
You are back. You're back. Perfect.
Yes. Apologies for the interruption. I was talking about the framework of principles, indicators, and interests that helped us articulate our case to a defined audience. We were also able to draw from this particular framework, not only in terms of identifying what kind of evidence to build, but also mapping what kind of evidence would contribute to strengthening and pursuing the case statements that we have mentioned just here. The learnings from the case building exercise. While the online course provided a solid grounding in the framework of priorities,
I'm terribly sorry we are experiencing these technical difficulties with the connection. What I suggest we do is we will continue with, that's nice back. Hello. You are back?
yes, am I audible? Looks like there is some internet problem.
Yes, we are not hearing you well. There are gaps in what you say.
Right. Am I audible now? I hope I'm audible right now, and you can
May I
continue.
suggest to continue, and we will try once more.
Yes. Sure. There are two key learnings that emerged. One is unpacking a complex of social, economic, cultural barriers that were faced. And two, transforming a large volume of evidence into simpler, effective communication material. This process of evidence building was helped us arrive at a process that was quite well informed, that was precise and coherent. In terms of looking at how we like to, evolve this evidence, what kind of shape we want to give it. The communication material that we have as of now is of an audio visual, and this encompasses all the factors I just discussed. The aim of this material, we'd like to disseminate it at three levels. One is, of course, community level engagement, where we want to discuss with village development committees, provide this opportunity to intergenerational learning groups, women's groups, etc., as we believe that this is an important source of perspective building. Secondly, we were hoping to reach out to as many partners, networks as possible who are engaged in this domain. We believe that this can also be viewed as an important resource for research and policy level interactions with and outside of Rajasthan. In conclusion, I want to reiterate that this has been an incredible opportunity for us. The case has the potential to resonate with several like-minded organizations that are working towards empowering farmers, women, and young girls in drought-prone areas. And I do hope that this case will be disseminated to as many places as possible. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
Thank you. I am going to move ahead and do the introduction of the collection of cases, and then we will have a period of questions and answers. Let me just share my screen. And now you can see it. Okay, so what is the online catalog? The online, let me just make sure that I can move. Oh, now it's moving. Let me just go back. The online catalog is held at evidence number 4 agroecology.org. evidence4agroecology.org. And it contains at the moment 15 cases that were developed by the grassroots organizations that participated in the process in 2024. And this is the list of grassroots organizations that participated. I don't intend you to read it. They are on the catalog. I want to give you an idea of the geographical spread of the cases, and the colored countries are the countries where the cases were based. And we are covering a good part of the world, but I think I know we are aiming at doing much better. Each case produced keywords to describe the case, and I just created a word cloud with the keywords that they suggested. And I want to emphasize that the cases were developed are the ownership of each of the organizations for the audience that they targeted. But I was interested in checking how does that look as a set. And as a set of keywords, it's quite interesting that we see that there is food production and consumption in what is being discussed, that seeds in the set of cases that we have at the moment play a very special role in terms of seed systems, but also in terms of the rights of farmers to their seeds. There is also a whole area about health, and it's health with respect to human health and to the health of the soil and of the environment. There are aspects that have to do with human beings, like the rights of women, the rights of farmers, the right, and then a large number of aspects that are specific for each of the cases, including inputs by diversity in terms of crops, but also in terms of agrobiodiversity. So it is, to me, a good indication of roughly the direction in which we are doing work, and we can prove that agroecology is making a difference. I also looked at an analysis of the topics covered by the current collection of 15 cases. And these include sustainable farming, food sovereignty and security, seeds and agricultural inputs, climate, environment, and environmental sustainability, economic and community resilience, indigenous knowledge and local practices, social justice and gender equality, as well as a section on agrochemicals and alternative inputs. But I wanted to also look at which aspects the cases are covering. And I thought first, which biophysical aspects are being considered? There is a special emphasis on soil in terms of health and management. Water management is very much at the center of some of the cases. Biodiversity and crop diversity cuts across many of the cases. Again, the impacts of agrochemicals and the pollution that it causes is a section that the organizations are working with. And the other aspect is ecosystem restoration and climate change. But it goes beyond that biophysical. It goes into social and cultural aspects. And they tackle issues of cultural identity and heritage, local knowledge and traditional practices, gender and social inclusion, community and social organization, producer-consumer relationships, empowerment and self-resilience, social justice and equity, education and capacity building, and the formation of networks. The catalog itself presents the collection of the current cases. The catalog, the online catalog, is available in English, French, and Spanish at the web address that I shared a moment ago. The cases were developed in the language that the organizations chose to develop. So in some sections, you will see local languages. In the catalog, anything that was possible to translate into English or French was done, but you need to be prepared to use probably Google Translate to get deeper into the case if you don't speak the language. However, we have made an effort to make it accessible as much as possible. We hope that this collection will grow in number. And because of that, we have set it up in such a way as it being searchable. And it is through the online catalog that we give access to each case. So let me take you there for a moment. And I will go there. This is my live version of the catalog. You will see that there is a menu with a home and about, item menu for cases, and an item menu for changing languages. So we can change it to French and it changes. I'll change it back into English. Under the cases, you could browse all the cases. There is also a possibility of looking at the 3 most recent added cases and sections of what is evidence, how these cases have been developed, and how these cases contribute to advocating for agroecology. But I want to go to the browse cases section of the catalog, and you can see that there is a way of searching the cases. So I could probably search for maize in Spanish, and there are 2 cases that are about maize, and they are in Spanish. You can also see that the catalog allows you to look for the languages in which the cases have been developed, and this is the list of languages that we have at the moment. These are the tags, and those are the keywords that the organizations have selected. At the same time, we ask them to identify the indicators they were using as proof, as evidence, and there is a list of indicators. And there are also the countries that in one way or another are covered by the cases prepared. I'm going to select cases for Ghana as an example, and I am going to show you the structure of one of the cases. So I will go into Unlocking the Potential of Agroecology, Grassroots Evidence for Women in Agroecology. And our colleagues from SICOR developed this case, and you can see when you go into the case, the title of the case and the organization that developed it. It's easy to check the language in which it was developed, the keywords, and the countries or special geographical areas that it covers. Right at the beginning, we have highlighted the communication products. These are beautiful in every single case, and I strongly recommend starting with the communication product to get familiar with the case. Then there are the case details, and that is the description of the structure that we have discussed. And then there is a section of claims and evidence. So the statement of the case is broken into specific claims, and each claim is linked to evidence that backs it up. Then there is the rest of details that has to do with who produced it and pictures that I have shared as illustrations of the case. So if you go to communication products, we have put at the top of the communication products any video products that were generated. There might be, in this case, a policy brief or other documents that can be downloaded. The case details go through the structure of the case, the statement, target audience, the priorities and values of the target audience. The framing of the argument is developed in detail, the call for action. Later on, lower down, you will see the claims and the evidence. The claim here and the evidence and their sources. Depending on the nature of the evidence, you will see that sometimes it relies on testimonies, often is products for farmers produced by the farmer organization, and they have selected that mechanism for evidence. In other cases, there is a mix of types of evidence, and the rest of details, as I said, give you contact details of the producing organization and the person who you can contact for. Let me go back to what I wanted to tell you. So what is the way forward here? We are really excited to launch the catalog, the collection of cases. I hope you have an opportunity to explore them and use them. But in the future, we already have the training course on the approach used for the Grassroots Evidence for Agroecology, GEA. online, and everybody is invited, and we'd love to have more people joining on the course, and we hope it is going to be of benefit for your work and for development of cases that you want to produce. We aim to continue supporting the growth of the body of evidence for agriculture, for agroecology by grassroots organizations. And so in the near future, we hope that another initiatives will be put in place to support the development of new evidence-based cases. I'll stop here for some questions, and thank you very much for being part of this discussion.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Tammy, Jessica, Enrique, Josina, partners from ESAFF Uganda that joined the session this morning and share your learnings and journeys journey on documenting the case. We are very excited with this initiative. Unfortunately, we are close to the end of the session, and we have some interpreters, the interpreters from French to English and French that needs to leave. But we have time for a final round that I would like to start with our partner from India, and then we can move to Uganda and then to the Andes. We have people in different parts of the world. If you could share an advice with someone that wants to go through this process, what would be the advice that you give it to them? And then I would like to ask the stats team to share what are the main lessons, the main harvest that they got from this process, interacting with grassroots organization in their efforts to build this case. Not sure if everyone is with us. Maybe you can start with people from Andes, Tammy, Enrique, Jessica. What would be the advice that you give to someone that wants to go through this process that Andes has gone through to build the evidence?
Yeah, I could go on that. First, as Carlo mentioned, the course is free. It's really well organized. It's easy to follow. You can do it on your own time. So I think the course is a really good place to start. I'd also recommend you have a team. I don't think it's really, if you're going to build a case, it's probably better to have multiple people with lots of knowledge, experience, and access to different kinds of information to build the case. That'd be my advice.
Can jump in? Ashida, could you share with us your advice?
Yes, thank you, Angela. I think it's a really good course for any person working on, let me say, working in the NGO world or trying to work on anything that they want a community to adapt to. First of all, just like Tani has said, the course is free. Then also, I think we have been working on things that are not really related to the audience that we are working with. So maybe you work on a research and you want people to adapt it, but you have not considered their beliefs, their norms. So taking on this course, I think, really makes you understand what you're trying to impart on people. Are they willing to take it on? How does it relate with them? So I feel like the course really highlights that really well.
I should tell you that there are many questions for the case documented by ESAFF Uganda, and you make sure these are shared with you so you can keep communication, and people can also contact ESAFF Uganda just accessing the case in the catalog. Josina, can you share with us any advice for people that want to go through this journey documenting their case?
Sure. Thank you, Angela. Well, for us, it has been a journey of unlearning and learning. So for us, I think one advice that really stuck through was that we have to be open to gathering a wide variety of qualitative and quantitative evidence. And I think we have tried to capture, like I mentioned, a complex web. It is always important to look at the intersections between social, cultural, economic factors. So I think the course has certainly enabled us to look at what exists, but from a very different lens. So yes, thank you so much again for this opportunity.
Thanks, Jyotsna and GRAVIS for taking part in this process. Carlos and Romina, few words to close the session.
I am so grateful for all the learning that I have had through interacting with the colleagues that have developed the cases. And so thank you for that. Please say thank you to the people that you work with. I would hope that this enthusiasm that we have and this urgency that we have for making stronger cases for agroecology is going to be reinforced by this effort that is a collective effort. And I hope that we can maintain lines of communication to support each other in this journey. And thank you so much to the Agroecology Fund.
Thank you, Carlos. Romina, would you like to say a few words? You have been deeply involved in this process.
Romina is joining this side of the
Sorry, my camera was not working. Thank you. Yeah, I would like to actually thank all the grantees I have been working with, because they have provided me with a lot of learning, inspiration, and I feel like it's been very humbling as well. And I feel very privileged of being part of this process, and very excited to continue growing this evidence-based movement for agroecology. Thank you so much, Angela.
Thank you all. There are many other questions and comments. Agroecology Fund in the coming weeks will send to all participants the links of this session, and also all the other links that we have been sharing in the chat, and also keep a communication about the next steps, because we have started this thinking in terms of supporting the Agroecology Fund grantees, but there are other organizations that have been approaching stats. So can you also work and upload our case? And so we are in this process of preparing ourselves for the next phase. And one of the important activities that we organize in the coming months is to have an open session about the course, that the stats team will provide some guidance about the course, because going through the course is the first step in order to move to the next steps in terms of building the case, and later on prepared communication products that we can upload to the platform. So thank you very much to all of you that has been with us this morning, and we will keep communication with you, and in the coming weeks we'll share, send an email with all these resources and try to answer some of the questions that you have shared with us, but unfortunately we did not have time to discuss them deeply. And thank you for the speakers from the stats team, and all people that took the time to join us this morning. Have a great week, and for the Brazilians, have a great Carnival.
Ciao.